Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for 1st and 2nd graders. I am so happy you're here today. Let's learn something new in math. Today, we're going to be talking about partitioning equal shares in a bunch of different types of shapes. All you need is 2 pieces of paper and a pencil or something you can draw with. It can be a crayon, a marker, whatever you have nearby. All right, let's get started. We have our I can statement today. It says I can partition shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. Well, that sounds really similar to what we did last week. Last week we were partitioning 2, 3, and 4 equal shares just in rectangles. But this week we're going to do a bunch of different shapes. So if we look at our I can statement, we can be reminded about that word partition. Partition is when we break something up into groups or separate it, okay? So I'm going to write the word separate or put in groups. Then we also have shapes. We're going to talk about different shapes today, but we know a shape is something that has sides that are all closed in. And then we have shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. And equal shares when something's broken apart equally. So each size of the part is the same. So each part is the same. All right, now last week we looked at this anchor chart and it told us how we can break apart a rectangle into equal shares. So right here we have one whole, and this doesn't mean that there's any parts to it. It's just one whole shape. Then we have halves, or 1/2. It's broken apart to where both sides are equal. Then we have thirds, or 1/3, and that means that each one of these, there's 3 parts and they're all the same size. And then we also have fourths, so that means each piece is 1/4 of our rectangle. All right, so we can break apart other shapes into equal shares as well. If I'm looking at my halves right here, I know I can break apart my halves. I can break apart a square into a half. I can break apart a triangle. I can break apart a circle. And I can even break apart a star. Now, are there other shapes I can break apart into halves? Absolutely. These are just the ones I wanted to show you as an example. Can you think of a different one that may be a shape you could draw and break into 1/2? All right, now let's talk about thirds. So we have 1/3. We can put a rhombus into 3 equal portions. Or 3 equal parts. We can partition a triangle into 3 equal parts, and we can do the same thing with a square. And there are definitely some other shapes as well. All right, and then for fourths, I have my examples. I have a square, of course. I did a rectangle, but I did it in a different way, just so you could see it. The rectangle's turned on its side. And then also, again, we have a hexagon. Oh, and we have a hexagon right over here too. I think I called that a rhombus when I was setting it down. That's silly. Definitely a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Whoops. All right, so now that we have our different examples in equal shares today, I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. And I'm going to show you what you're going to do. So go ahead and grab that piece of paper. Now that you have your piece of paper, you are going to fold it into thirds. So think about how we can fold it into thirds. Looking at this rectangle, looks a lot like our piece of paper, right? We've practiced it before where we roll it up like a little burrito and then seal the sides. This doesn't have to be perfect. We're just going to be drawing a shape in each one. So you want enough space to be able to do that. All right, now that you have your piece of paper ready to go, I'm going to tell you what kind of shapes we're going to draw in each one. So I'm going to give you a little challenge for each part of your paper. And so here's our first one. I want you to see if you can identify which shape isn't partitioned or separated into 2 equal shares. All right, are you ready? Can you see which shape is not in 2 equal shares? You're right, it's this one right here in the middle. This is what we call a rhombus. I think that's maybe why I said rhombus earlier. It was on my brain. I want you to draw a rhombus. It looks just kind of like drawing a diamond right here on your paper in that first equal share, 1/3 of your rectangle. And once you've drawn your rhombus, I want to see if you can make it and put 2 equal shares. All right. Does yours look like this? It could even look like this. Or maybe yours looks like this. Or this. Okay. Let's try our next one. Let's see if I can trick you. All right, so which one of these shapes is not in 3 equal shares? You're right here, our square does not have 3 equal shares. Can you draw a square in your second part of your paper and put it into 3 equal shares? Go ahead and do that now. Maybe your square looks like this. Maybe your square looks like this. Either way, you did it right. All right, let's see what our last shape is going to be. All right, here is our last shape. Can you see the one that's not in 4 equal shares? You're right, our circle does not have 4 equal shares. Can you draw a circle in the last part of your paper and put it into 4 equal shares? Does yours look like this? All right, awesome job. All right, now you can either use the back of the piece of paper that you just drew your shapes on, or you can get a new one and fold it into thirds again. I have a challenge for you today where you are going to draw different shapes and put them into either 1/2, 1/3, or 1/4. And I want you to color each one part of each, kind of like my examples from earlier. Now that you have your new piece of paper folded into thirds, or if you're just doing it on the back of the first one, whatever works, I want you to draw these 3 shapes. So in the first part, so in 1/3 of our rectangle on our paper, we're going to draw a circle. Sometimes circles are really hard to draw, but if you take your time, or you can find something maybe that's a circle to trace, it'll turn out just okay. All right, in that second part of our paper, I want you to draw a square. And again, remember that our square has equal sides and equal lengths, so try and make it as similar as possible on each side. And then in that last box, I want you to draw a rhombus. Remember, a rhombus is just like drawing a diamond or a square on its side. One of my sides is a little longer. Now that you have these 3 shapes, you're going to write some numbers at the bottom for me. You're going to be coloring each one part of each shape today. So I want you to write at the bottom 1/2 under the circle, 1/3 under the square, and 1/4 under the rhombus. Once you're done writing that, you're going to need to draw that so that each shape represents the fraction that you put below it. So for example, if I have a circle in 1/2, I can draw a line right down the middle. It could go up and down as well. It doesn't have to go across. It could even go from side to side. And then I colored 1/2 of my shape. So the other half just stayed white. So that's what you're going to do with your circle right here. And then you're going to draw your square with 3 equal shares, and then you're going to color 1/3 of your square. You're going to then take your rhombus and put it into 4 equal shares and color 1/4 of your shape. I'm so excited to see your shapes when you are all done. All right, that's all I have for you today. You guys did a great job learning about partitioning different shapes into 2, 3, and 4 equal shares. You guys even got a little fraction work there at the end. You guys are ready to go. All right, thank you so much for coming today. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this was Math Mania. I'll see you next time.